Dave Rennie responds to Springboks' time-wasting claims ahead of rugby's greatest rivalry. As the All Blacks prepare for one of the biggest challenges of their season, an interesting debate has emerged away from the usual questions about selection, tactics, and individual performances. The focus this time is on the speed of the game, and more specifically, accusations that the Springboks may be slowing matches down. All Blacks head coach Dave Rennie has now responded to comments from Springboks coach Rassie Erasmus and South Africa's law advisor Jaco Peyper, setting the stage for an intriguing opening test in Johannesburg. The issue may sound technical, but it could have a significant impact on how Saturday's contest unfolds. Since taking charge of New Zealand, Rennie has placed a clear emphasis on playing with speed, attacking with intent, and keeping the ball moving. That approach has already produced impressive results. The All Blacks came through their recent Nations Championship campaign with victories over France, Italy, and Ireland, before continuing their strong run during the rugby's greatest rivalry tour of South Africa. They defeated the Stormers, Sharks, and Bulls, building confidence while also showing a clear preference for a faster style of rugby. For Rennie, tempo is not simply a statistic. It is an important part of how his team wants to play. The All Blacks want to create pressure through quick ball, maintain momentum, and force opponents to make decisions under pressure. That makes the question of stoppages and time management particularly relevant when facing a Springbok side renowned for its physicality, tactical discipline, and ability to control important moments of a match. Ahead of the opening test, Rassie Erasmus was asked about the growing discussion surrounding the pace of the game. Rather than simply dismissing the issue, the Springboks boss brought Jaco Peyper into the conversation, explaining that the former international referee could provide a more technical explanation of how the laws are being applied. Erasmus suggested that a narrative had developed around the speed of the game and the possibility of teams slowing things down. His decision to involve Peyper highlighted just how seriously South Africa viewed the discussion. Peyper, who now works with South African Rugby in a law advisory role, explained that the issue had been discussed at a World Rugby Shape of the Game meeting earlier in the year. According to Peyper, coaches and referees had worked toward an understanding of how certain aspects of the game should be managed. The purpose was to create consistency, with coaches preparing their players to follow the agreed expectations while referees attempted to apply the laws in a consistent way. Peyper also pointed out that there is ongoing communication after matches, with teams and officials discussing key areas and providing feedback. His argument was straightforward. The Springboks had not received negative feedback from World Rugby suggesting that they were deliberately slowing the game down. That response pushed the debate into a more technical area, but it also created an obvious question for the All Blacks. If the Springboks believe they are operating within the agreed framework, how will Rennie view the situation when his team faces them directly? The answer came during an All Blacks press conference, when Rennie was asked whether he expected Saturday's test to be slowed by the contrasting styles of the two teams. His response was calm, but he made it clear that his experiences during the South African tour had shaped his expectations. Rennie explained that the All Blacks had already played club opposition in South Africa, where the pace had been noticeably slower. He gave one particularly striking example, recalling a line-out against the Sharks that took around 50 seconds to set. For a team that wants to play quickly, moments like that can feel significant. Even if every delay is perfectly legal, repeated stoppages can change the rhythm of a match. They can allow defenders to reset, give forwards time to recover, and reduce the momentum of an attacking team. But Rennie also offered a more balanced observation. He noted that the Bulls had approached the game with a much more positive mindset and that there had been considerably more ball in play. That experience appears to have influenced his expectations for the Springboks. Rather than assuming the world champions will automatically try to slow the match down, Rennie believes they may also want to keep the contest moving. That is an important distinction because the Springboks are not simply a team that wants to stop the game. Their strength comes from controlling the flow of matches, winning physical exchanges, and making smart decisions at crucial moments. They can play through pressure, use set-piece opportunities effectively, and change their approach depending on what the opposition gives them. Against an all-black side that wants to increase the tempo, the battle for control could therefore become one of the most fascinating elements of the test. Interestingly, Rennie also admitted that he was not completely sure what Peyper had been referring to when discussing the accusations surrounding time management. That comment suggested that the All Blacks coach was not looking to turn the issue into a major confrontation. Instead, he appeared more interested in understanding exactly how the laws would be applied when the teams meet. There will also be no special meeting between the two head coaches and referee Matthew Carley specifically to discuss the time-wasting issue. Carley, the English official appointed to referee the opening test at Ellis Park, has already communicated with the teams. Rennie confirmed that match officials had sent an email outlining 4 key areas, with time wasting included among them. From the All Blacks coach's perspective, there is therefore no need for another formal meeting. He explained that both teams had already had communication through email and had received a summary of the expectations. In other words, the message from the officials appears to be clear. The players and coaches know what is expected, and the referee will be responsible for applying the laws on the field. That could be the best outcome for a match that already carries enormous significance. The last thing either side needs is for the conversation around tempo to become bigger than the rugby itself. The All Blacks have arrived in South Africa with confidence after a strong sequence of results. But the Springboks represent a completely different level of challenge. South Africa are the reigning world champions, and their ability to adapt tactically has been one of the defining features of their recent success. For Rennie, the challenge will be finding the right balance between maintaining the attacking identity that has served New Zealand well and making the adjustments required against a powerful South African team. The All Blacks cannot simply play faster for the sake of playing faster. Their speed needs to create opportunities, put pressure on the Springboks, and prevent South Africa from dictating the terms of the contest. At the same time, they will need to remain disciplined because a high-tempo approach can also create mistakes if players rush decisions. That is where the opening minutes of the test could be particularly revealing. If the All Blacks can establish quick ball and maintain continuity, they may be able to test the Springboks in ways that other teams have struggled to do. But if South Africa can disrupt that rhythm through their defense, set piece, and tactical control, the pressure could quickly move in the opposite direction. The debate over time wasting therefore goes beyond a few seconds here or there. It is really about which team gets to dictate the rhythm of the match. The Springboks have defended themselves against suggestions that they deliberately slow the game, while Rennie has simply explained what his team has experienced and what he expects to see. Neither side appears interested in creating unnecessary drama, and that is encouraging ahead of such an important series. Ultimately, the referee will have a major role to play. Matthew Carley will be expected to manage the breakdown, set piece, substitutions, and other moments where the clock can become part of the tactical battle. If the laws are applied consistently, both teams should know where they stand. For viewers, that could produce an even more fascinating contest because the focus will remain on how the players respond. The All Blacks will want speed, precision, and attacking momentum. The Springboks will want control, physical pressure, and tactical accuracy. And somewhere between those two approaches, the referee will have to find the right balance. For Dave Rennie, the message is clear. He is not planning to make the time-wasting debate the center of his preparation. His team knows the expectations, the officials have communicated the key areas, and the players now have to deliver on the field. The opening test of the rugby's greatest rivalry series will ultimately be decided by execution, discipline, and composure rather than words spoken at press conferences. But this discussion has added another layer of intrigue to an already highly anticipated encounter. Will the All Blacks be able to impose the fast-paced rugby that has brought them success under Rennie? Will the Springboks find a way to control the tempo without giving New Zealand the attacking opportunities they want? And will Matthew Carley allow the match to develop into the high-speed contest Rennie is expecting? Those questions will only be answered once the teams take the field. What is certain is that both coaching camps understand the importance of controlling the rhythm, and neither side wants to surrender that advantage. The rugby's greatest rivalry series is now moving into its most important phase, and with the All Blacks facing the world champions in Johannesburg, every detail could matter. The debate over time wasting may have started as a technical discussion about the laws, but it has highlighted something much bigger: the battle for control. And when the All Blacks and Springboks meet, control of the game can often be just as important as the score on the scoreboard.